So let's talk a little bit about this consumer, because that cautious optimism, it's there. If you talk to certain people, other folks would say that the consumer is totally tapped out and there's just not that much pricing power left when it comes to these retailers. And I wonder, when you survey the landscape, what do you see right now?
Well, it's funny. I don't know who TransUnion is, but I don't know how you get answers to a survey like that.
Yeah.
I am a cynic when it comes to surveys. I survey customers, I survey people in our shops. But how do I see the landscape? Very, very promotional. I think Black Friday started like last Monday. And every time I'm on here, I go online and I look at the prices and the cuts. 50% off here, 40 off here. Very few of us included, don't do that. Because once someone tells you, wait to buy it, you're always waiting.
Yeah.
And I always use my friends at TJ Maxx, who I spoke to today, and they don't have Black Friday events because they are every day.
But they are a discounter. But for those folks who aren't discounting, you mentioned Alex Mill. There are a lot of other brands out there, Sid Mashburn, that kind of holds the line on prices. How do they do that and not succumb to the price cutting that everybody else is doing?
First of all, have to have a vision of what business you would like to be in. Costco is impeccable. I don't know if you call them a discounter or just great retailers. Same with TJ Maxx, and there are others out there. But and I said this, quoted, quarter to quarter. They kicked my old friend from Lululemon, Chip.
Yeah.
He took out that ad, and then the Wall Street Journal called and said, "What do you think of that?" I didn't even read it, so I read it. I said, "I agree with every word he says." It's quarter to quarter. Long term in this world is quarter to quarter.
Right.
And you're not a turnaround person unless you marry your business and marry your job, and you want to see it. And for me, I love what I do, and my standard is I need to do what I did better the next time. But I count for it by it's easy to promote, but it goes short term.
Right.
And I don't know how good business is. We are flying right now.
Yeah.
Took 5 years to get there, but it's all about the product. The marketing is critical. And the team, no one does it alone.
Well, Mickey, you've seen a lot of different economic cycles, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the psychology of the consumer right now, because I hear what you're saying, that if you offer a promotion consistently, people are going to expect that. But you think about the cycle that we're in right now. Prices are high. They don't seem to be budging, even though the rate of change has cooled significantly. I mean, okay, maybe TJ Maxx is in a unique situation and they are a discounter, as Romaine points out, but if you're at a slightly higher price point and you have folks waiting for a promotion that you're never going to give, who blinks first?
Well, you're dead long term if you do that. When I took over Gap and then J.Crew, they were discount companies. Gap, 2 jeans for $26 from Levi's. Who blinks first? You don't blink, you just do your job every day. And you don't worry about look, I hated quarter to quarter earnings. When we dropped a quarter, boom, But who blinks first? I think the consumer always knows. They're smart. They go online. It's amazing how many retailers today have 2-tier pricing. Online, 50 off the whole store. You go into the store, they don't tell you unless you ask. And just the best education you get is going online. You see everyone online and what they're doing.
Yeah, I am curious though too about just how people are shopping, not just this holiday season, but long term. We were just showing you that clip from the Bloomingdale's CEO. We're talking about a traditional department store, and we know department stores have been struggling, whether it's Macy's and Bloomingdale's or Dillard's or Nordstrom or whatever. Is there a future to that sort of big box department store model? I mean,
well, for 30 years I've been saying, well, there were a million department stores. I started my career in 3 big department stores in New York. I stayed 12 years, and I felt, for me, I was a young guy. There was no real future. And everything I did...
All the way back then you felt that?
Well, I'll tell you why. I was a buyer at Bloomingdale's, and Alexander's, an old discounter, was across the street.
Yeah, and this where this building
if
is right
they
now.
had my goods, same goods I had, swimsuit sweaters, I had to mark down my inventory. How do you control your business having to price off of your competitors. I want to own our products, and that's what I learned from my experience, that if I'm dealing as a discounter in a department store, I have to meet prices. I always say, and I said it on here, before you pay for anything and give them your credit card, go online and look for the deal. It's somewhere to be had. And how do that's why I'm a big believer in own your product and own your brand. And look at what Costco's done with Kirkwood or whatever the name is.
Yeah.
It's like bigger than most corporations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But you're seeing some other retailers try to do that as well. I mean, Macy's has a big private label brand that they've been trying
private label in itself is market high and sell it on sale. It's the integrity of product.
Yeah.
And I see it not just in our industry, I see it in the car business. All of a sudden, every car looks alike. I don't know, they all have that swoop.
Yeah.
Except for the Cybertruck, but that's a different conversation.
Oh, which one? Oh, my God.
God, don't get him started, please, Katie.
We can have that conversation off air. But when you think about the future of shopping and how people actually shop, I do wonder if, physical stores will eventually turn into sort of a showroom. You go into the physical store, you try things on, and then you go and you get the better price online, or you're able to get more colors or a slightly different size online. And I wonder if I'm alone in that opinion.
Well, it's your opinion, and I can't argue what you think, but I think there's an emotional connection in our business. And that's why I say AI, everyone's saying it's going to replace this. It doesn't have emotion. It can't pick colors. And you go into a store, a physical store, it's like a work of art if it looks good. Now, most of them don't. But the main thing is the main thing. It's nice goods at a fair price. And I'm a color person for our business.
But it's funny you bring up the analogy with cars, and I mean, we know cars have really gotten very sort of similar in styling, colors, everything else. You're also seeing the same thing in fashion to a certain extent as well, certainly at a certain tier of fashion where it's all kind of the same stuff.
Well, I think, look at the designers, by the way. They're going through a period where you look at the retails.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if what I read is right, but they're suffering because I know what it costs to make a cashmere sweater. And we used to make them with Laura Piano yarn at J.Crew. I'm seeing $2,000, $3,000. I look through the magazines. I love what's going on there because we're waiting around with the other high quality, good value styled retailers. But I think it's about a merchant, it's about a vision. And you don't learn any of this in college, which students don't like to hear me say. It's like in your business. You didn't learn how to do what you do. Now, all the parents don't like what I say that to their kids in college because you want a lawyer to learn law. But our business is a creative business, no matter what. It's a business where you see it, you feel it. And I always say, if I don't get emotional about merchandise, then it's fair.
Yeah.
So.